And welcome back to WWE 2K26.
There aren't many people in this industry that I respect more than Rey Mysterio. And while I think the world of Rey Mysterio, it doesn't mean we always see eye to eye. And yes, we've often gotten into fights over our disagreements, but every single encounter with Rey is special. We've had so many great moments, but when it came to this showcase, I went with one that may surprise you. A match where we were on good terms with each other, where we just went out there with the simplest of goals. Win the match, earn a title shot, Armageddon 2008. The finals of the #1 contender for the Intercontinental title tournament. Having a chance at WWE gold dangling in front of you is always one hell of a carrot, and we went out there and had a blast trying to outdo the other.
Look at this!
Rey and I have done things to each other over the years that don't exactly scream respect, but at the end of the day, I love Rey. I love our history, and I love this encounter. So let's jump back to that special night in December of 2008 at Armageddon.
Alright. Yes, welcome back to 2K26. We are now at Armageddon 2008, taking on the greatest luchador. Well, okay. Well, we can take, yeah, let's do it. The greatest luchador of all time in Rey Mysterio. One of the icons of professional wrestling, and easily probably one of the guys who made mass wrestling incredibly popular here in the U.S. Even though, well, yeah, mostly the U.S., but I digress. Started out obviously in the 90s, the 80s, 90s, yeah. In the 90s, kind of when he got his start. He was apparently, when he started out, he was 15 and had to lie about his age to get work in the U.S. And this was back in the day when it was easier to lie about your age as opposed to now, because you've got wrestlers like, well, you had a wrestler who's currently signed to AEW and Nick Wayne, who was 15 at the time he got signed, but unfortunately he was found out to be underage and couldn't participate in US-based cards. Now, let's get this started. Rey Mysterio. Oh man, so much can be said, so much will be said. Starting off with his career, he was primarily in AAA Mexico, which has recently been bought out by the WWE as of WrestleMania last year. Well, he gained his population, and he basically showed off, hey, this is fast-paced, this is aerial style. And his mask is obviously one of the most iconic feature of him. One of his first matches that helped popularize Lucha Libre in the United States was his match at a November to Remember against none other than Psychosis. He took him on a handful of times in Paul Heyman's ECW, where the one match I saw between the two of them was a Mexican death match. Now, you may remember I have said I am not the biggest fan of deathmatch wrestling, and I still am not. However, this was also, deathmatch wrestling in the 90s, so it wasn't meant to be as bloody, and they kind of got away with a lot of stuff then and now. Compared to now, that they're a lot more tamer. And tamer's not the right word. They definitely got more extreme now compared to back then. But then again, now they don't have to worry about the network, because a lot of them do their shows out in the remote areas. Anyway, Rey Mysterio, as mentioned, in his match with Psychosis, the Mexican Death Match, it was amazing, and it was the only match I saw between the two of them. But the reason why he is regarded as one of the best luchadors of all time is he is a current member of the AAA Hall of Fame, the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame, and the WWE Hall of Fame, all of which have... The WWE Hall of Fame was in 2023, and he's still somewhat active. He's currently... I think they're slowly phasing him out, though, of in-ring competition, and they're putting him primarily on commentary for AAA now, where he primarily will translate the Spanish promos for English watchers. So, like, in the most recent episode after Rey de Reyes, the second El Grande Americano Ludwig Kaiser came out, cut a promo, and Rey Mysterio translated the whole thing for him. Well, this, as mentioned, he has been all over ECW, as well as his stint in WCW in '96, which helped popularize his Lucha Libre style, and creating a cruiserweight wrestling division for ECW, in which he captured the Cruiserweight Championship 5 times, and the World Tag Team Championship 3 times, and eventually winning the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship. He did have one of his best matches in WCW against another luchador, Eddie Guerrero, 1997 Halloween Havoc. It has been widely regarded as one of his best matches. It's also, I believe, one of his favorite matches he's been a part of. Upon that, years later, he would eventually lose his mask to Kevin Nash in a Lucha de Apuentes, which is basically match with a fight with a wager. He wagered his mask, Nash probably wagered his hair or whatever title belt he had at the time. And at the time, they were just unmasking every luchador they had on their roster for no reason other than WCW was looking to go through a reset. And they reset everyone with the cards and everything. But fondly, WCW closed its doors down in 2001 and was eventually bought out by WWE. He came over in 2002 and was in WWE, winning just about everything. Handful of tag titles, one of which with his son Dominic, World Heavyweight Championship twice, Royal Rumble winner, and won the WWE Championship.
Contender match full of drama here.
You have to think Intercontinental Champ William Regal is looking on as the 619 setup, but denied by CM Punk.
Ray had it dialed up. Punk has other plans. What a move by Mysterio with the Hurricane Rana into the 619 position.
And now with the second bite of the cherry connects, CM Punk down, and now perhaps in the drop zone for Rey Mysterio to finish this.
Punk out of the way just in the nick of time. And Mysterio rolling up Punk for the victory. And a kick out by Punk. Who wants it more?
Anyway, after winning the title in 2011, he eventually dropped the tag to John Cena later that night for no other reason than it's John Cena, practically. Well, at least that's how a lot of fans felt. Eventually, he kind of bounced around from about 2012 to 2014, eventually leaving in 2015, joining Lucha Underground, the Americanized wrestling promotion AAA had put out in an effort to bring Lucha Libre, I want to say more American-based, but in an effort to kind of showcase the style and maybe get a following here for him. Well, all that was all fine and dandy for him. 2018 comes and he is brought back into the WWE fold, making a triumphant return at the greatest Royal Rumble, and then another Royal Rumble. Like, he made a return in the Rumble, the crowd loved it, so they brought him back full time. And he's been back in WWE ever since, eventually joined by his son Dominic, and the two would eventually win the Tag Team Championships before Dominic left his father and turned on him, which was probably the best thing for that boy's career in the long term. They had a match at a WrestleMania the night after he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was one of my personal favorite WrestleMania matches on that card. That being said, well, like I said, there's not much that you can't say about him. He's an icon and well respected. He was a family favorite of mine. One of the matches that I'm a little bummed out they didn't do was the two of them, CM Punk and Rey Mysterio, had an amazing rivalry later on when CM Punk was, like a lot of things in wrestling, an easy thing to do is kind of a Christ-like figure. Whether you like that stuff or not is entirely up to you. I'm not going to tell you what you can and what you can't like. He was basically saving all of the... CM Punk was doing his best to save all of these people from drugs and alcohol, because CM Punk is himself straight edge. He doesn't do drugs, he doesn't take alcohol, all that jazz. And that was the whole feud, was Punk was believing Mysterio's mask was covering up all the insecurities. He covers his face with the drugs, he covers his face because of his alcohol problems, and he wanted to take that mask off of him and force him to join his cult, basically. Obviously it didn't work. We win this match with the most dangerous move in all of professional wrestling, a roll-up. And yeah, there's like a handful of other matches they could have done. They had an amazing match at an Extreme Rules where it was Punk versus Mysterio, mask versus hair. And by the time Punk lost the match, so they went to shave him. They shaved him, and then Punk started wearing a mask for like the next few weeks because he couldn't handle being embarrassed. But that's going to do it for this episode. And next time, we'll see where this showcase takes us. Later, y'all.